Hello everybody and welcome to my 23rd Visual Basic in Excel tutorial. And this tutorial is going to carry on the topic of this previous tutorial and show you how to use functions. So what are functions? Functions are similar to what we used in the last tutorial of subs. However, functions can only be called from within a sub. So if we insert a module and we're going to have a function here, and we're going to make it a private function because I only want it to be used from um, this module. I don't want any other modules pilching it off of module 1 because module 1 put the effort in. So private function, and again you name the function, so let's have multiply. And we're going to do the classic thing here of um, creating our times tables. So let's buy our row as integer, and let's buy our for column as integer. And notice that you can pass more than one thing into a function, and you can do the same for subs. I just hadn't shown you yet. So if you put a comma, then you can have by-val that as integer and by-val that as integer, and that's going to create us two variables, one called row, which is an integer, and one called col, which is an integer. Then eventually we're going to want this function to give a value back again. So when we first declare it, we need to declare what value it's going to give back. So as integer. So this function is going to return an integer value. So how do we do this? So let's take the value of, let's make a value, say, let's say answer, actually let's just go straight to it. Say if we want to make the value of this function something, then we put multiply. So the name of the function, you don't just always use multiply, the name of the function, and you put equals, and then you put in what you want it to equal. So I want it to equal row times column. So this is really simple function, and it's just basically to show you how to use them. So private function, so it's a function that can be used within this module. Call it multiply, and it takes two arguments, row and col, which are both integers, and it's going to return an integer. So when we create our sub, so sub times tables, and this sub we're going to have two for loops because we're going to make our times table. So 4, 1, 2, 10, and you've got to put a variable, so r for row equals 1, and next, and then we want an inner for loop that's going to give us our column, so for c equals 1 to 10, next, and then I'm going to assign the value to the cell, so sheets, and we want sheet 1 because I never bothered to change my sheet names already on these tutorials. I feel like I might start just to make them a little bit more interesting. So cells, and we want row column dot value, then equals, and then this is where we're going to call our function. So multiply, and then this takes two numbers. So we're going to have r and c. And you don't need to put call here, you just need to have the name and the arguments it takes because this is a function that's returning a value. So you don't want to call the code, you want to assign the value of the calling the function. So let's run this now. So if we go onto here and we go to F8 and we run times table, and we get a beautiful, beautiful times table. Um, so this basically what this function is doing is just multiplying two numbers. So it would have been simpler in this case to just have r times c. Um, However, as you probably recognise, you can add a lot more code in than just multiplying, and you can have different options, and you can get it to do whatever you want. So, um, and then one more thing, really, 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 really important, is adding a note into your function. So let's put right. So function multiplies two numbers together and returns the answer. Right, and then I like to list the arguments as well. So it takes two arguments, um, and I've called them row and column. I'm kind of upset that I've done that. I'm going to have num1, and I'm going to change it to num2. And this example of one that you could use universally. Um, Takes two arguments, num1, and put a little thing again, so num1 is first number, num2 is second number, then the function returns the product of the two numbers. Right. This is really, really important because this will let other people know what your function does. So without reading what all of the code does in the middle, they'll just be able to call the function itself. And that's really, really useful. So if you've got a really, really complicated calculation, you can just have a function that does the calculation for you, and then everyone else can use it without having to know how the calculation works. Um, so that's functions. So that's the end of this tutorial. Thanks for listening, and if you want to subscribe to any of my future tutorials, then please just go onto my channel and click subscribe. So thanks for listening, and I hope to catch you in the next tutorial.